So what happens to narcissists in the end? At the end of a narcissist life, what is going on? What is going on in their life at the end of it? Are they miserable? Are they happy? Are they alone? Or do they are they still searching for narcissistic supply? What the hell is going on? If you're new here, my name is Hammock. I'm a diagnosed narcissist, and that's what we're talking about today on the Narcissist Code. Exactly what happens at the end with a narcissist, what goes on at the end. And that's important, y'all. I'm gonna just keep it hot and ready like a Little Caesar's pizza with you right here. It's extremely important to discuss what happens to narcissists at the end. Because I do get this question a lot. I get it in my comment sections. I get it on my one-on-ones over Zoom. I get it in my support group anonymously sometimes, right? Like, what happens? What goes on in a narcissist's life at the end? I know a lot of people are going to just say, well, Lee, narcissists at the end, they shrivel up and they disintegrate. Like Thanos snapped his fingers and they just disappeared, right? No. It would be it would be an interesting. It would be an interesting sight, wouldn't it? But that's not what happens to narcissists in the end. Like at the end, it could go a few different ways for narcissistic people, right? Because like a lot of people ask me, do narcissists stay married? Can they stay married for a very long time? Yes. Yes, narcissists can absolutely stay married for a very long time. Like, there's people that I know that have been married to narcissists for 30, 40 years, some 50 years, right? Some of your parents have been married to narcissists for the entirety of your lives. Think about that right there. Some of your parents have been married to your narcissistic partner, your other narcissistic parent, for the entirety of your life or before your life. Like, before you were born, y'all parents was together, right? So think about that right there and think about that. Think about how that goes. Before you were born, your parents were together. And your parents have been dealing with narcissists. Your parent has been dealing with a narcissist. Sometimes both your parents are narcissists, been dealing with each other. Which, if that happened, y'all, I hate it for you. I really, truly do. But at the end of a narcissist's life, I don't think that every single narcissist ends up alone. They end up lonely, but not alone. You see what I'm saying? There's a big difference between lonely and alone. And I want people to understand that right there. I truly need people to understand that there's a big difference between lonely and alone, right? Because some people never leave narcissists, y'all. I know regardless of what people think, like, some people stay to the end. Some people outlive their narcissistic partners, right? Some people, the narcissist outlives them because I know what y'all gonna say. The narcissist outlives them. Well, Lee, evil never dies, right? The narcissistic partner lived to be 117, right? You see what I'm saying? That can happen. They toxic as hell in a wheelchair, just evil in the wheelchair, right? That can happen too. But I don't think all narcissists do not end up alone, but they do end up lonely. But Lee, what the hell? Like, Lee, that's the same thing. No, it's not. There's a difference between being alone and being lonely. There's a big difference. Now let me hop into it. Let me explain the difference, right? Alone means that they have no partner. They have no narcissistic supply. They're no longer getting the validation that they seek, right? That's alone. They're single, by yourself, they pass away, right? But sometimes they're still married. They still have relationships. They still have children around and whatnot, right? So they still have people around, but they end up lonely because there's no connection. They have people around them, but there's no deep connection. That's what I mean by when I say narcissists end up alone, but not lonely. They have people around them. They have several people around them. They have a ton of people around them, right? They can have a huge family. But because I truly believe, as a diagnosed narcissist myself, that a lot of narcissists don't have the capacity to establish these deep emotional connections, right? Not all the time, right? So they can have a bunch of people around them, but they don't feel fulfilled. They don't feel happy. They don't feel content with their lives. They always feel like they could have been doing more. They could have done more. So that does happen to a lot of people. So that's something that you have to consider as well. That, like, when you're dealing with an emotionally manipulative person or a narcissistic person, this could absolutely happen, right? Where they absolutely, your mom, let's use this example right here, y'all. Let's make the woman a narcissist, y'all, in this situation. I always make them, y'all. I always make the man a narcissist in my analogies. But let's just say your dad, who is a stone cold empath, or not even stone cold and empath don't sound like they go in the same sentence. Let's go a warm and soft empath, right? Your dad is highly empathetic, right? Wouldn't hurt a bug. Versus your mom, who's a stone cold narcissist. Like, they stay together for the entirety of your lives. And even when you move out and have your family of your own, they are still together. You see, sometimes they don't leave. Even though your dad seemed like he might have been protecting you from your toxic narcissistic mom or vice versa, right? They still stay even after you leave because they could be trauma bonded. So not everybody leaves. So that narcissistic person is somehow, some way, shape, or form going to have people around them in their lives. Not all of them end up super alone, right? So some of them are still old. They can be older and still have a wife or a husband and children around because the children feel indebted to them. So the children don't cut them off, right? That happens. So this is a true to fact of what could happen. Like, they can get to the end of their lives and still have people around them fully supporting them because they can still have people around fully supporting them because they care about them. Like, they care about the narcissist, not the narcissist caring deeply about them. But the narcissist might pass away alone, like lonely. They don't have those deep emotional connections, and they're not necessarily getting the validation that they seek. The validation or the supply, the narcissistic supply at the end doesn't feel the same anymore. You know what I mean? It absolutely doesn't feel the same as it used to. So sometimes they can still be older. They can still be older out here lying and cheating, out here trying to find new supply as a 60 or 70, 80-year-old. Y'all, I've heard these y'all don't understand how many of these stories that I've heard when I'm doing my one-on-ones over Zoom. Well, the narcissist will be 80 years old and still out here hunting for new supply. Still out here on the prowl for new supply, hunting, on the hunt, on the prowl for new supply. It's crazy, y'all. It can get crazy. Like, they can still have people around them, but they're never satisfied. At the end of a narcissist's life, I would just say at the end when they get older, like, they're still on the hunt because very rarely are you going to get a narcissist on the beach and be like, this is the life I imagine. I got everything in life that I wanted. I don't need anything else. Yeah, could it be possible that happens to some narcissists? Yeah, that could be absolutely be a possibility of something that happens. But does it always happen? No, that's not always going to happen. Let's keep it real. That's not always going to be a thing that happens to narcissistic people. They're not always at the end going to have that, like I said, going to be this type of person. They're not always going to have that supply. It's just crazy, y'all. It really is. So, narcissists at the end are going to, I don't think they're going to be happy. That's the question. That's the answer I want right there, ain't it? Are they going to be happy at the end? I just truly don't think so. Like, you hear these stories all the time where the narcissist has alienated their kids for their entire lives, and on their deathbed, they try to get their kids on the phone while they're in hospice. Like, can you call my son and let him know I'm about to pass away? I want to have one last conversation with him. I haven't talked to him in 10 years. Can you call him, please? And the hospice nurse will call the son, and the son like, I'm good. The narcissist will be like, that ungrateful little bastard, or something like that, something along those lines. Like, that happens. They hold grudges to the end. Very rarely are they going to give you some closure at the closing of their lives. Very rarely will they give you or anybody else any type of closure. That just doesn't happen, y'all. So that's something you have to be prepared for as well, because you're not going to get that closure at the end of the lives. That's not something that's going to happen on a consistent basis. It really isn't. That's something you have to prepare for. That's something that's going to happen consistently to a lot of people, but you're not going to get the closure that you seek when you're dealing with a manipulator, right? They're not going to give you closure at the end. Like, a lot of narcissistic people are still going to be searching for narcissistic supply. As crazy as that sounds, y'all, I did a live a while ago, right, on Instagram. I talked to a woman. She was in her 60s and she was on a dating app. Her spouse had passed away. So she was just not getting back out there a few years after he passed away. Met a man on a dating app. Like, and this man made a man on a dating app for older folks. And he lied about his age on the dating app. He said he was 67. Turned out he was 73. So he was lying about his age. She didn't find out that until the end, like to the end of the relationship. He was lying about how old he was, and he was still out here cheating. He didn't get off the dating app when they met and started dating and made it official. Like, he was still on the dating apps, lying. And you know how, y'all, it's gonna sound. This part right here is gonna sound unbelievable about how this older woman, 63, this part right here is gonna sound unbelievable. How this older 63-year-old woman caught her boyfriend cheating. Like, I told you, he was 73. He was lying on dating apps about being 67. But he had this pump to get his nethers ready for action, right? He had this pump that goes down there, kind of like, you remember those old shoes, these little pump up shoes make you jump higher, kind of like that, but for your nethers, for the man's nethers. He be ready to go. She said she caught him cheating because he said he was going to the gym one night, and he kept the pump in the drawer beside the bed, and she just happened to check the drawer, and the pump was gone. He had it in his gym bag. She's like, "Why are you taking that pump to the gym?" He was like, what are you talking about?" Like, the pump, your nether regions pump, you don't have it here anymore. It's not in the gym. It's in your bag. Why are you taking it to the gym? "Oh, just in case of, why you always question me?" This man got mad, tried to gaslight her and try to make it seem like he wasn't doing anything, even though he was taking his pump. It's not a travel pump. He was traveling to pump it up to pump somebody else. He was gonna be trying to pump somebody else, y'all. And that's what ends up happening. Like, she caught him cheating because he was taking his nether regions pump with him elsewhere. It's crazy as that sounds. It really is crazy. But anyways, y'all, at the end, narcissists and toxic people don't live happily ever after. Even if they go find a new supply, they will still be unhappy because they're not going to be fulfilled. They're still going to be searching. They're still going to be chasing that high of a new supply, of a new relationship, or whatever that is, y'all. But if you made it this far, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't, y'all. I don't ask for much. Just hit that subscribe button so we can hit 500K. Also, if you're still here, check out my website, mentalhealness.net, and click one of these videos right here to stay on the channel. Watch another video, y'all. Mental Healness is out. Peace.